Hey y'all, are y'all looking for some delicious weeknight dinners that won't break the bank and your family will enjoy it? Well, I have 3 to share with you today, and each of them will all be safely under $10. Hi friends, my name is Heather and thanks for joining me here at Finance Working Mama. I'm going to share with you guys 3 recipes that I cook for my family on a regular basis, and mainly because everyone will at least eat it. That's the key. They will eat it. Might love it, but they'll eat it. I have 2 girls, 12 and 8, and if one loves it, the other one will be like, it's okay. Either way, these 3 recipes, they all seem to enjoy. The best of all is they will give you lots of leftovers, especially the last recipe that I will be sharing with you.
Friends, this is Tortellini Italian sausage soup. You want to start in the pan with 2 tablespoons of olive oil, a half of a medium onion diced with a little salt. Brown it until it's nice and translucent, then add a heaping teaspoon of garlic to the pan, or any type of garlic to the pan. Saute until fragrant. Then you want to add 1 pound of Italian ground sausage. You could use whatever ground meat you'd like. I like to use the Italian sausage because it brings such great flavor to the soup. When it's almost brown, I'm going to add 2 teaspoons of Italian seasoning. I like to add the dried seasoning to the dish before I add the liquids because it helps wake up the dried spices. Then once that has been well incorporated, I want to add 1 can of small petite diced tomatoes. You could use the large tomatoes if you want, but my kids seem to like the small petite better. Add 2 cups of water and then 2 cups of chicken broth. I didn't have any bouillon or broth on hand, but I had these little packets of condensed chicken broth packets, which 1 packet will make 1 cup of broth. So I'm adding 2 of those packets to the soup. Now you want to get that stirred well, get everything well incorporated, bring it up to a hard boil. Then you want to cover it and then let it simmer on low for at least 15 minutes or as long as 30 minutes. Now you want to go to the last several steps, ingredients to this dish, and it'll only take 10 additional more minutes before it's ready to eat. I like using these 8-ounce pack of dried tortellinis that you can find at Aldi. You can get it for under $2, and they are just perfect. It takes no time to get them heated up and cooked through and ready for the table. You can go to Walmart and get the larger packs, which is almost $5, and you'll have some leftovers, but this really works well, and I really like the texture of this once it's been cooked through. Once you have the tortellini broken up and mixed well into your soup, and you want to add some form of cream to the dish, you could have heavy cream, a cup of heavy cream, but we don't really like it that creamy, so I use either a cup of half and half or a cup of 2% milk or whole milk. And then you want to go to the best part, and that is a half a cup of grated Parmesan. Mix well, and then you have to have a green vegetable to complete a full flavored soup, and it's 2 heavy helpings of spinach to the pot. Stir well, let it get well incorporated, top it for a few more minutes, and then friends, it is ready to serve. Taco rice casserole. Friends, this is a favorite of the family. It's perfect for Taco Tuesday. I'm going to start off with 2 to 3 tablespoons of olive oil and then 1 pound of ground meat. I'm using ground lean turkey today. First, it's healthier, and second, it is budget friendly. And then once I have the ground meat browned, I added the onion and 1 bell green pepper. So 1 onion diced, 1 bell green pepper diced. I let it saute until softened and the onion's translucent. Then I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of the garlic, or just garlic, and then 1 can of tomatoes and chilies to the pan. And of course, we've got to have taco seasoning for Taco Tuesday. So 1 packet of taco seasoning. If you're using your homemade, then you want to use 2 tablespoons and a half of your homemade taco mix. Friends, you want to get that well incorporated and mixed before adding 1 cup of rice to the pan. I like to mix the rice within the meat and veggie combination to allow the rice to get sort of browned. Once I give that about 3 to 4 minutes into the pan, that's when I just want to add what I have on hand. You could add 2 cups of water, but I'm going to do 2 cups of beef stock. Believe because we're using turkey, I want a little bit more of a beefy flavor to that Taco Tuesday rice. And I decided that I'm going to use beef broth to give it a beefy flavor. So 2 cups of beef broth. You want to get it all mixed well and make sure that the rice in your pan is completely covered and saturated with the broth in your pan, because at this point you're going to top that pan and cover it. Let it sit for 20 minutes on low until that rice is perfectly cooked. And friends, look at this. It is smells so delicious, and it is definitely going to please the family. You can serve it up. I serve it up in bowls, make it just a one pot dinner, because it has the veggies, the proteins, complex carbs, and there would not be a Taco Tuesday with a little cheese on top with some shredded lettuce. I'm using a dollop of non-fat Greek yogurt and of course some delicious taco sauce. Friends, I promise you this is quick, easy, budget friendly, definitely under $10. Your family will love it.
Y'all, I'm going to teach you my version of vegetarian chili. And yes, I said vegetarian. If you've watched me for a moment, you already know that we are meat-eating people. However, this is a hearty vegetarian chili that does satisfy the family, as well as it's healthy, which I love about it. It's very healthy, calorie friendly, family friendly. So I'm going to show you guys, and most importantly, I'm not going to forget to say, budget friendly. What I like about it is you can clean out your crisper. And that's pretty much what I'm doing today. I'm going to put in 1 yellow onion because it needs to be used. Because 1 last whole carrot I have, and this was the last of the this was a little bit left of the last broccoli stalk, and then another broccoli stalk. You could use as much. I usually use 1. If I have 2 small ones, about 2 small broccoli stalk or 1 large one. Usually a medium-sized sweet potato. These are smaller, so I'm going to use 2 small ones. And I found some jalapeno peppers. I always like to put that in there too. And then I have about a half of an onion here that needs to be used up. If I have a whole onion in the fridge, I'll go ahead and use it. I only had a half, and I don't want to go out to the garage and, get another onion. I'm going to use what I have inside. I'm going to get all these peeled up, and then I'm going to use my dicer to get them all sort of in the same bite-sized pieces. I'll cut the same size, basically. I feel like that's a really easier way to cook it. Most importantly, it's a whole lot easier to chop it if you use your chopper. I'm going to use 2 different sizes. I have a smaller dicer, which I'm going to probably do the bell pepper and the onions and the jalapeno. Probably use the small cut for that, and then the larger one I'm going to use for the sweet potato, because I do want the sweet potato to be a little bit more have more chunk-like size in the chili. That sort of gives me the feel of meat. Whatever you gotta do, right? Whatever you gotta do to fool yourself that you're eating meat in your chili. But I swear, this is really good. I've watched a number of vegetarian recipes, and a lot of them are not so much my favorite. This, so this is a concoction of a number of different vegetarian chilies. So this is my spin. I small diced, and use this slicer cutter. It's very small. And now I'm going to use this larger one for the potatoes and the carrots. While I'm cutting these up, I'm going to get these sauteed. This is the onion, the sweet pepper, the celery, as well as the jalapenos. So I'm going to get those softened in the pan while I get these cut up. Alright friends, as you can see, the yellow pepper, the jalapenos, the the celery and the onion have been sauteing in about 2 tablespoons of olive oil. And I am going to go ahead and put in the diced sweet potatoes and carrots. Here we go, friends. See that dicer? It saves so much time. It is the best, like, 17 bucks I have ever spent. And someone asked me, well, how do you wash it? I throw the whole thing into the dishwasher. I don't even bother to hand wash it. Right. Get your carrots nice and sauteed into your dish. Alright, so let's get started on these spices. There's chili. Of course, chili has, in my opinion, a ton of spices. And I like to brown up my spices before I add all the liquids, because I feel like it wakes up the dried spices. You want 2 tablespoons of chili powder. You want 1.5 teaspoons of cumin. I have this chipotle chili powder. I'm going to put a tablespoon of that in here. I bought it for something, and we'll have it chunked in there. A heavy teaspoon of garlic powder, and I only have a little bit left in here. So I'm just going to throw all of it in. And last but not least, I put in a teaspoon of oregano. I get it all stirred in before adding all the liquid. Alright, now I'm going to add in an entire quart of chicken broth. I did the easy route and I just pulled this straight out of my pantry. The reason why I like to do the chicken broth before I add the rest of like the tomatoes and beans is because it gets all the flavoring that has browned up on the pan loosened from the bottom. You have all that delicious flavor, and so I want to make sure I get that before I put in my tomatoes. 2 cans of diced tomatoes, and I'm doing liquided all. Fire roasted tomatoes are awesome in this, but I didn't have any in my pantry, so I'm just going in with regular diced tomatoes. So 2 cans of diced tomatoes, and then a can of pinto beans. Now guys, you could use as much pinto beans or beans, black beans, that you like. I like pinto beans. I just don't want a pot full of them. Or really anything, and I cannot stand black beans. Ugh, cannot stand it. So add more beans if you like, or any kind of bean you like. It's your chili, go for it. Alright. Now, what makes this really delicious and decadent is refried beans. 1 can of refried beans. That's what I said, y'all, because it's sort of soupy, if you can see it. And for whatever reason, I saw this on a couple recipes, and I thought, that would make it look so rich. Friends, all you have to do now is just get the refried beans. Whoop, man overboard. incorporated into your vegetable and broth mixture, it will take a minute or two to get it broken down and combine this into the soup. So just be patient with it. Just keep stirring it and mashing it against the pot. That will help it until it's all incorporated into the chili. Guys, I forgot the most important ingredient. I put in a can of the Bush's vegetarian baked beans. So I do put, actually, I guess technically 2 cans in there, because of course these baked beans are pinto beans. I just dumped the whole can in there. It's nice and boiling now. I dropped the whole can in there, liquid and all. The brown sugary chili flavors just does something to the dish, friends. I'm telling you, you got to try it. If you can't find the Bush's vegetarian baked beans, you can also do the chili, I guess it's called chili beans, that you can also find in Walmart. They have it in the Walmart brand. I think Bush's actually has chili bean, but that will work as well. I've used that as well, because you can't always find the vegetarian Bush's baked beans. Alright, looks like everything's coming together. The refried beans have broken down except this one little bit. What you guys want to do is just turn it down to a simmer and let it simmer for about 20 minutes. And it is ready to eat. Friends, I promise you those 3 recipes your family will enjoy. Who doesn't like Taco Tuesday, a taco rice? Yum. Did have a couple of leftovers with that particular recipe. The tortilla soup, I always have 1 or 2 leftovers left over for lunches. And then that chili will feed you easily for 2 nights, even if you have a family of 6. It makes a ton and is so good. So good. This is from a meat eater, and I didn't miss it. Best of all 3 recipes are very, very healthy and budget friendly. All right, friends, I hope you enjoyed today's episode of Budget Friendly Meals. Let me know what is your go-to budget recipe in the description below. I'd love to know it. Always looking for some more great recipes to feed my family with. And if you haven't already, please subscribe. Would love to see you in future videos. And I think YouTube would like you to see these recipes or these videos above. Thank you, friends. Make sure you stay safe and most importantly, stay encouraged.